Happy Wednesday again, everybody. So overall, market is kind of sitting in this 280, 283 range for the past few weeks. Obviously, I think the prior week I was expecting, a 270 test, but obviously that didn't come. So with the FOMC minutes today, that event sent market straight up, and usually it tends to, at least for the last year and a half, correct immediately. And that's exactly what we got today. So that was kind of something intraday that I was fully expecting, is that once this move kind of stalled out, we would be right back to where those minutes came back, if not lower, and that is exactly what happened. So pretty interesting times there as well. Overall, I feel like it's about as bullish as we can feel in my mind. So, kind of taking into account what I had said previously, after that put had been given, this market's just gone, straight up, which if somebody gives you a put, that's essentially what happens. So, next thing I'm going to kind of go over are a few names that are at all-time highs and some other interesting sectors that I'm kind of paying attention to. So, the big one is Microsoft, essentially tapped all-time highs again today and has been riding it for the past 3 or 4 days. So this is one of those names I do expect long term to be, kind of one of those great names. Apple's been shining for the last basically 10 years, and innovation wise for them, I just don't think that they really have anything in the pipeline unless they're keeping it super secret, super quiet. I just see Microsoft as being the leader for quite some time. So it's kind of one of those interesting names that I'm paying attention to, not every day, but every once in a while. And one of those names that long term, on big ugly red days when everybody gets scared, those are the times that I like to add to those type of things. So one of those interesting names. Also Starbucks, they keep increasing prices. It's like $10 for a drink now. And I don't think that we can expect any real slowdown in my mind of a name like this, just because the last time there was a slowdown was a recession. So unless a recession has been rearing its head for at least 6, 7, 8 months, this really isn't a name that I have too big of a concern. Obviously, there's the China issues, but if they keep raising their prices and people still keep going, it's just a good combination that they have there. One of the interesting sectors, though, that I wanted to bring up is the gaming sector. So, like GLUU Mobile, one of those names that I haven't paid attention to, never looked at, and it was like $2 the last time I've even paid attention to it. But over the last year, gaming and esports has become one of those areas that a lot of people kind of maybe realize, hey, gaming can make a lot of money. Fortnite, I think, exacerbated that thought process with how much money they were making. When you get a user base that just continues and continues to play the game and wants skins and all that, I think that's something that'll become more of a hotter topic as far as more concentrated wealth into specific names, those type of things. So like there's this GRVY name that trades pretty thinly, but in the last few months has done basically a 6x move. So you can kind of see where the thought process is on that, is that a gaming and esports is kind of just becoming the new sports. Kids are playing games a lot more. They're not really going outside as much playing actual sports. They're playing esports because now colleges make it very lucrative for them. So one of those interesting areas. Like Activision Blizzard, they had some issues, and I don't think they were making a whole lot of good games. They were still making money off of their games, but nothing that was groundbreaking like Fortnite was, through that whole downturn that they had. So kind of hoping and expecting that they have some games that come out that are pretty decent. It's one of my favorite names as well in that area. And then a recent IPO that I'm kind of watching is Super League Gaming. So I think you might see companies. There's quite a few on the OTC markets already where there's some gaming companies that are actually out there building companies to recruit players, and they get portions of revenue based off of if the players are good. So it's very, very kind of interesting times. It's kind of like owning a portion of like the Dallas Cowboys or something of that nature. So definitely a spot that I'm kind of shifting focus to. And lastly, crypto again. Bitcoin currently is trying to break out over that big area, the 4,020 in my mind, with a possible retest up to the 5,000 area. It is possible, but you'll have some resistance around 4,400, 4,300 until you get that. But these big long down trend lines that I have here basically go back all the way to last year. So the longer term downtrend that I have on here has already breached as far as essentially last week, last 4 days. So that's the first kind of bullish signal that I see. The next one that you have is this upward trend line that's tapped with the 9800s. So that's a 4200. I think 4200 is going to be an interesting trigger that may just send it right straight to 5000 and then, kind of retest. Because when this thing gets going, everybody pays attention to it and it makes some pretty insane moves. So that is an area that I still pay attention to. So hope everybody has a great week, and I will talk at you next week.